Kevin.
Yeah.
What's going on, buddy?
Yeah. It's the middle of the night, you wake me up, you make me come over to your house while it's raining. I don't know what you're doing.
Wait, it's raining?
Yeah.
Oh, well, sorry about that one.
No, it's because all the snow's melting, so it's like, eh.
Oh, that's right. Yes, finally, all that fucking snow is gone.
No, my yard looks like shit, and I don't want to work on it yet.
It's like a sludgy mess. Welcome, it's a Powercast Quickie, PTG Quickie. So, Kevin,
yep.
when we are recording this, it will be 1 day since the Outriders Demo came out for, what is
every
it?
system.
Everything, pretty much, except Switch, obviously.
Xbox One and One X, PS4, PS4 Pro, PS5, Series X, PC.
Everything except Switch.
Yeah.
Yes.
And phone.
And phone. Well, yeah, well.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, anyway.
And, well, it's not in the Stadia either, so.
What is? Let's be honest.
Considering they pulled the plug on a bunch of the stuff.
Oh, what a shock. the short-lived Stadia. Oh. God, what a mistake. Anyway, yes, so it's been 1 day since the demo, and if anybody has ever listened or watched Power Trip or a Powercast, you know Kevin and I were huge fans of this genre, like Destiny and Borderlands.
Well, less so Destiny for me, more Borderlands, Diablo, and...
Division. Yeah. So, like, games of this nature. So, we both experienced the demo. Him, obviously, to a much larger extent than I did.
Yeah, ain't no life.
Yeah, well, to say, but I played enough to where I wanted to do a quickie on this, because I have thoughts. And yeah, but what were your initial reactions to this so far? How do you like it overall? We'll get into the nitty gritty later, but what are your overall, like, what's your overall impressions on this?
I think it has an excellent core, like, gameplay loop.
I think so,
but it is definitely in rough shape.
Yeah, it is.
I'm hoping this is just, it's a very early, like, I'm hoping it's the same demo that they had for the closed beta. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping it's just the same demo. They didn't change anything. And they just released it to everyone publicly.
Yeah.
But if this is closer to what the final product's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to pay $60 for it.
Yeah. Overall, I'm digging it. I mean, it feels like Destiny to me. It feels like aspects of Destiny. It feels like aspects of Division. Yeah. It feels, I mean, I think it plays pretty well for what it is. I like what they're doing with it. Yeah. Because, like I said, I was a huge fan of Destiny, more than you probably were. Yes. But this has that feeling all over it. And it's honestly, like, I feel like this could be a lot of Anthem, another feeling of Anthem,
that's the other thing I worry about, is I'm getting kind of the same feeling I did with Anthem, where I was like, I really like this, I'm enjoying playing it, and then support's just not going to be there for it.
That's right, because actually, a side note, recently...
They just pulled the plug on Anthem 2.0.
They sure did. The huge overhaul that Anthem was talking about, they nixed it. Yep. Which is upsetting, because Anthem, while people for some reason hated it, it was a really good fucking game.
And the funny thing is, people hated it, but both Destiny and Destiny 2, as well as The Division and Division 2, all suffered from the exact same problems when they launched, and yet they all got a pass for all this stuff.
I'll never understand it, because Anthem to me felt better than both of those games. Yeah. The flying aspect of Anthem I thought was gorgeous. But usually flying in games I always dread, because I always feel like it's a jumbly mess. Yeah. It was perfect in Anthem.
Honestly, story-wise though, I think the first Division beat like all of them.
Yeah? Well, I liked the first Division.
Yeah. The whole setting, you don't get games set in the middle of winter very often and stuff like that.
Not too much, no. So Division had a really good premise, because it was real, but real in the fact that it feels like that could happen. Especially, current day, you never know, but I think it felt very grounded in reality, which I think is what made it fun. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas, like, obviously, Destiny, you're in fucking space. Like, alright, this is just sci-fi fantasy. Yeah, space magic. But yes, that was disappointing to hear about Anthem, because I truly, truly loved it.
Well, and everything they had announced and shown off for what they were working on looked like it would have put the game on track to be one of the best loot and shoot games out there.
Especially since they teased like a continuation of it at the end of the campaign. Like I was so looking forward to seeing where the story was going to go, because I liked the story. I thought it was good. It
wasn't bad. It was just once you were
fascinating.
Just once you were done with the story, there was nothing left to do.
Not really. There was one raid, quote unquote, a couple of things here and there, but yeah, you're right. Post game really kind of just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I wonder if part of that's due in fact to people just. I don't think the support was there.
Well, I know EA forced them to kind of push it out early.
Yeah.
And then it seemed like some of the heads of BioWare were far more interested in shitting out another Mass Effect or trying to get the next Dragon Age going rather than nurture a new property.
Yeah, and that's disappointing. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Outriders. Overall, like I said, I liked it. The story is seemingly pretty fucking cool to me. I kind of liked how it did the jump. The
premise is all right, but the abruptness to the way stuff is set up at the beginning is just bad storytelling.
I don't know. When that storm first hit, I was like, oh, fuck.
Well, no.
That scared the shit out of me.
They're cool, but it's just the way things are set up. It feels like there were chunks cut out to hide parts of the story, almost.
I can see that, I suppose. And this is one thing already has a leg up on Destiny. At least you can read the fucking lore in-game.
Yeah.
It was kind of the same thing they did for, Anthem kind of had the same thing, I think, for lore.
Yeah, there was the database in there.
Yeah, but I like how you can read through the lore of the characters and the conversations and just kind of see how things got to where they were.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate world building in games like this, because in MMO type games, that's usually never a thing. World building's secondary. It's about grab your friends and kick shit.
Yeah.
I appreciate that there's actually a decent story to it so far.
Yeah.
I do say decent. I mean, it's not exceptional. This idea's been done.
Yeah, that's actually something I've been laughing about.
Feels like Mad Max.
Since my buddy George has been playing it too, and that's the one thing. So I played it, and then I told him it had come out. And then I was kind of sitting there watching him play through it, and all these different certain story beats would happen. Oh, this hasn't been done before. Nope, this has never been done. And then it's oh my god.
Can I say, Square Enix? God damn it. These are the ugliest character models I've ever seen in my life. Next to Morrowind.
You've never played Gears of War.
I'm why is it so hard for these games to come up with decent looking character models?
These are better than some other games.
Not really. Destiny's were ugly. This is ugly. Why? Why can't they ever come up with decent looking character models? They all look so terrible. But that's just a nitpick.
Because the pretty people are dumb and they die fast.
That's kind of a nitpick, but it's just it's something I've noticed over the years as I've played more and more of these. I'm like, god damn.
What's happening is the graphics are getting better, and you're just realizing people are ugly.
That's why Genshin Impact had a decent thing, because that's why I like God Eater and Freedom Wars. It's more cartoonish, so the rough edges.
It's easier to hide them.
It's easier to hide them. But, that was one thing, the very first thing I noticed, I'm like, boy, I hate all of these faces. I hate all of this hair. I hate all of this.
I found, one face for the guy and one face for the female models that I liked.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, god damn it. All right. Pick the prettiest turd, I guess, but whatever.
Hey, at least the facial hair actually looks like it's on the character model.
Yeah.
Instead of floating in front of it like a lot of games lately.
Yeah, it does. It actually doesn't look too bad. It kind of reminds me of Borderlands.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it feels like to me so far.
Yeah, it's very over the top in the way it does everything.
Yeah. But story-wise so far, we'll start with that. Just the overall story and the feeling of it. So obviously, you embark on 2 ships to a new planet. What a surprise.
Nah, you embark on 2 ships, but only one leaves.
Yeah.
Which is a basic sci-fi trope. If humans are ever leaving Earth, and there's 2 ships, you can guarantee either one's going to blow up or get lost in space, and the other one will make it to the destination.
Yeah. But Yeah, it was just I thought it was kind of neat the way you see like the setup of it. You know, I thought it was cool. You end up in. I thought you were only going to end up in cryo for a little bit, but not 30-something years. I was like, oh, okay. It's like 2 time jumps already.
Yeah, well, because the 80 years to whatever.
Just to get to Enoch.
Yeah, and then 30 after you wake up once.
Yeah, but I thought that was actually kind of a cool thing, because obviously the waking up thing, every sci-fi thing.
I do like that there's almost like immediate callbacks to it. Mm-hmm. Because like when you first get to Enoch, they make the joke of, it was just yesterday and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then but it's been 80 years, and then once you're frozen again and you meet a couple of characters for a second time, you're like, yeah, well, this happened yesterday, and you're like, no, it's been 30 years, dude.
Oh, so much for Tanner. I did not expect him to go out like a bitch.
Oh, old cowboy?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude with the cowboy hat, he's done. He's pushed out.
Aww.
Dude, he's the grizzled old, veteran. He had to be the one to go.
Well, let's look at it this way. If he didn't die there, he was going to die of old age by the time he woke up.
Yeah.
But, so it's like, I kind of appreciated, you see the lush forest and the pretty greenery, and then you wake up and everything's just fucked.
See, I was hoping for more involved in the world as it was.
I kind of did too.
See, that's that's where, I said it kind of, feels like there's stuff that's cut out, because some of the cutscenes that'll be happening, they end ridiculously abruptly. In the middle of someone saying a sentence, it just cuts off.
That's something we'll talk about in a little bit. Because I'll just say this. From a technical aspect, this game is a goddamn disaster.
Oh, yeah.
Technically speaking, this game is a fucking shambling mess.
Yeah. But
we'll talk about that in a bit.
But I said,
yes,
it seems like they're cutting it to hide something that happens in the story.
Yeah.
Because they're even though it says, it's the full first chapter, there's no way in hell that's the full first chapter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do like that in sometimes in storytelling where it's you're fast forwarded to a point in time and then you're kind of picking up the pieces from the past in current time. I always kind of appreciate that.
Yeah, but at least those are usually cohesive in the way they tell it. This isn't.
Yeah, maybe just not yet. Who knows? I mean, it is just a demo, but I do know what you mean, because I kind of got the feeling, too, where I'm like, what just happened? How did they end up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and we know nothing. I haven't finished reading through all, the lore stuff that I've unlocked, but they didn't really say what was going on Earth, other than we ruined the planet.
If you read one of the... there was one document before everything happens, there's increased tectonic activity. Whether it was a weapon that was designed to pinpoint something, you could pinpoint a place and cause an earthquake, and somehow we fucked up the tectonic plates in the Earth to where every earthquake is getting worse and worse and worse, and it's causing the oceans to fuck. Basically, the continents were starting to drift. Oh. And it's basically the whole planet's going to end up underwater. Yeah, essentially. That's what it sounded.
And been fine.
It's funny. Somebody actually mentions that in the note. They're like, "Well, we can just build floating cities." They're like, "No, we'll just build Atlantis underground." They're like, "No, that's not no." But yeah, that was, from what I gathered, that was kind of the idea. Is we fucked up the planet to the point where... And it's weird, because
when two of the character, your character and the other guy, are talking about what happened at, the day you guys left Earth. They're the hordes, they were killing everything coming to... I'm like, what? Are you talking about zombies all of a sudden? Because that's the way they're describing it. Yeah. It sounds like a horde of zombies rushing over everything.
Yeah, they mentioned marauders. Or scavenger. I think it's marauders. So it must just be Borderlands. Yeah.
Well, it's whoever wasn't privileged enough to make the ships.
I guess, yeah. Because one Shira woman talks about how her father gave up her spot, or gave up his spot for her.
Yeah.
So maybe only certain people could go, and the rest of them were like, well, fuck that. If we can't, nobody is.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it sounded like, because they talk about the massacre of even just boarding the ship.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool. I mean,
it makes sense.
That's what people would be.
Yeah.
So it's I get that. I get that. But yeah, it's another one of those where I feel like you kind of have to read about it more than it's actually presented to you.
I was, it's seeing as it's the demo, I was a bit more interested in seeing how the game felt versus going into all the story stuff.
Yeah.
Because usually with demos, I don't read any of that stuff, but when the full game comes out, I'll actually sit and read all that stuff as I unlock it. But
that's why I have a hard time with demos, because I never take it I never take it seriously, quote unquote. It's like I
don't know what's going to change.
Yeah, I kind of just want to see how the game feels more than I'm sitting down and I'm going to play this in a serious manner.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? Because that's how I kind of feel right now, anyway. But because even when they allow you to keep your progress, I still always start over, just because you never know what they
This might be one game that depending on what transfers over, I might keep my progress.
That's just because you broke the game like a bitch.
And I found a legendary weapon already.
Oh, yeah? Of course you did.
So I was just like, yes!
But yeah, I always start over just because, like you said, you never know what they're going to add. So I'm like, it's always just a fun run.
I'm hoping it's one of those ones where you can choose to either just import one character at a time, so I'll only import the one character and then just restart and experience everything fresh with the new character while keeping the stuff with my old one that I can eventually, play up to that point and then continue with him.
I can see that, yeah. But, but overall, I'd say I'm enjoying it so far. I love the aesthetic. I mean, I feel like the game looks... The problem with me is I'm playing on a base PS4.
Yeah, I'm playing on a PS4 Pro.
Yes. So, ideally... and this is an argument for... Or not an argument, but a fight for another day is I would like to play this on a PS5. If I could get one!
That's me too.
I ideally would like to play this on PS5.
PS5, I could play it on PS5, or if I had a good enough PC, I'd play it on PC as well.
Yeah, because that's how I would ideally like to play this, because I know my PS4 is starting to age.
Mine is too. I've actually noticed I've had some issues where there was one day I thought my video card on it was dying, but it was just the HDMI cable was fucking up.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was loaded up and there's just this purple bar on the side of my screen. I was like, fuck me.
Yeah, but, like, I feel like the game would look and run better on a PS5 or
load times, because there are some weird, load stuff.
There is. In the menus, I've noticed.
See, I haven't had it in the menus. For me, it's...
maybe it's just mine.
Me, it's when I go through, doors, it'll be, black screen, quick cinematic of me opening the door, black screen, load screen.
Oh. I don't know that. Mine is in menus or wanting to talk to people. It'll black screen for a few seconds and then go to whatever. I'm like, that's weird. So I'll go to a weapon and hit details. It'll black screen for 3 seconds and then come up. I'm like, oh,
mine only
that's horrible.
Changing areas, but you'll do something, it'll load, you'll get a cutscene, then you'll load again.
Yeah.
Only to go a short distance to load again. I'm like, all right, people, load everything at once. Yeah. This is where the speed of the PS5 would be a huge, boon.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's just, it's just go.
Right. Especially with solid state.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine it's damn near non-existent on that. But that's... What was I saying?
You won't have the thing I've run into. You won't have the 2 issues I've run into where, one... There was an entire mountain in the background flickering in and out of existence, which was hilarious to watch. Or 2, have you killed an enemy near, rocks or anything like that?
Mm-mm.
So I've noticed it in a couple of spots where you'll kill someone and, the blood splashes. Well, it's a clear, layer on top of another object, so when it's running, it looks like someone, if... You ever seen, one of those old toys where you could turn it and, the image goes around?
Yeah, yeah.
It looks like that going over the rock. So this animation of blood is just cycling over this rock. I'm like, really?
That's funny. I suppose we'll get into, since we're kind of already heading that way, the technical aspect.
Okay.
It's a fucking mess.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
Visually, audio...
Visually...
I've had it crash a couple of times.
Luckily, I have not. But I didn't quite know what you were talking about audio-wise until I got past, the initial
You start seeing the Godzilla effect.
Yes, where the syncing of the audio is bad.
It's funny because it's either the audio's too early or too late.
Yes, or I've had it where text will stay on screen.
Yep.
Will not go away.
I've also had it where the subtitles don't show up at all.
Yep, that too. Characters will talk over each other. Like you said, dialogue gets cut off.
Have you had them stutter yet?
Yes.
Where they'll read a line and then
read it twice.
The same line again and then go on to what they're supposed to do.
I've had that a few times.
Like if it was like one individual character, I'm like, okay, yeah, the character stutters. Occasionally you're gonna have a character that actually does it. That's cool.
Yeah.
But no, I'm like, everyone does it every once in a while. I'm like, stop.
Yup. So like from guys, like, understand, we know this is a demo. Like, this is not the final product, so
that's why I am
these are just more criticisms of
that's why I am hoping this is the same demo from the closed beta. Mm-hmm. Because otherwise, if this is closer to the final product...
I'll wait for a few patches.
Yeah.
Which, Lord knows, we won't even get a PS5 by this time anyway. But, yeah, just we're being a little critical of it, but it's just based on the experience of this demo.
But that's what the whole reason they put the demo out, is to get feedback of what they think the fan base needs, or what the fan base thinks needs to be addressed.
Yes. Like, I know one big thing you had said is the shaking camera.
It is abysmal, isn't it?
I don't mind it because I don't really pay attention to it, if that makes sense. Like, I kind of don't really care.
See, it bugs the hell out of me. I just kind of
just go, I've never really minded it.
I hate when TV shows do it.
I know.
I hate when movies do it. Why the fuck are games doing it when you control the camera? No one's physically touching it.
And it's only in cutscenes, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Right?
Because as soon as it goes back to you playing,
it's like somebody's on a bobblehead.
Well, it's like someone doesn't know how to use a Steadicam properly. But it's one of those things where it's a game camera. That means they had to choose to program those levels of movement in there.
It's a stylistic choice. I think they did.
Which is so jarring, going from, I'm playing the game in this hectic setting, and the camera's only moving when I'm getting hit.
Yeah.
To all of a sudden it's going to a cutscene, and it's like, I'm going to decide to play...
I'm in an earthquake!
Like, it's just all of a sudden, it's like, it's super shaky. Sometimes when, like, the camera's pulled back, it's not as bad. But then when you get those close-ups, and you can see the camera, like, physically shifting,
like in conversation.
Enough. Yeah, you like...
It's... I'll admit, I noticed it, but, like, to me, I don't really care that much, but because it doesn't... I know some people, it makes them kind of ill.
That's,
you're like,
that's
God,
one of a big complaint I've heard about the game is like, people are actually getting motion sick from it.
Maybe if they toned it down a little, or just got rid of it.
I tweeted them from the Power Trip account, and I was like, you guys got to tone this down or get rid of it.
I'm actually surprised that wasn't a setting to adjust that, because a lot of games usually have some form of, like,
well, but shake cam and stuff, like camera shake and stuff is usually, when you adjust it, it's usually only in the parts you control. It's not in the cinematics.
Yeah.
So.
But that was, I noticed that was a bit much.
The other thing is, like, is motion blur when, like, you're sprinting and stuff. It's gotta go.
I kind of like that effect, how it kind of zooms, like, pans back, goes dark around the edges.
I don't mind the panning back, but, like, the way they did, like, the whole blur effect just looked like shit.
Well, yeah, I suppose so.
Like, motion blur was one of those things, it was originally implemented to hide technical limits.
Right.
It's not needed anymore.
Well, I think they're doing it because it's supposed to be like, you can't...
There are other ways to
quote-unquote hurried state, so you can't catch everything.
But there are also other ways of implementing it so it looks like you're moving faster, you're doing stuff, without having to resort to fucking with your vision.
They could have faded the edges of the camera out rather than motion blur.
Something like that.
Would have made sense. You can't really see your surroundings.
Yeah.
I can understand that, but like I said, motion blur is another one that doesn't bother me because I've played a lot of games where motion blur is pretty horrid. Do you ever play Type O? Final Fantasy Type O?
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
It was very horrible.
But that was also because it was never meant to be played on a big screen. It was meant to be played on this.
Right,
like
a Vita screen. Yeah.
So motion blur on Vita screen versus like a full-size TV are very different.
TV, or 42-inch, yeah. But yeah, I know what you mean by that. Just, it feels like a Bethesda game, in a way, where it's buggy.
Yeah.
It feels goofy. But, I mean, well, I shouldn't say it feels goofy. It actually feels alright. Once I adjusted the settings enough to where I'm comfortable, it feels alright. It plays good. Or it plays well, I should say. Like,
I really like the fact that other than one class, it is very focused on you don't sit still. Yeah. Like, that's, like, most games where it's either I'm always walking around shooting, like, first-person shooter like Doom or, like, Borderlands, or it's the Gears of War and Division style where it's you duck behind cover, you come up, you take the pot shots, go back down, use an ability or something like that.
Go to the next barricade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas this one,
they force you to move.
You have no healing other than when you're killing stuff.
Yeah. And actually one of the things I really liked was reading about the classes and how the fact that they all regen life differently.
Yeah. One of my only things that I'm like, I hope it gets adjusted even a little bit more than it currently is the classes currently are your abilities seem like they're only skins of each other.
What do you mean? Well, I've only played the Pyromancer.
So you know that wave ability with the fire?
Yeah.
Well, the Devastator has that move too. But instead of seeing pillars of fire go, he punches the ground and you see the ground get distorted. It's the same ability.
It just goes in a straight line?
But it's a different animation. Oh. It's literally the same ability.
I thought the way I read his was I thought it was more of like a.
It's like a cone as opposed to.
Or like an all around him kind of like.
Not, it doesn't go around him. It goes in front of him.
Maybe it doesn't go as far, or does it?
It does.
Does it really?
Yeah, it might. Maybe it doesn't. I mean, maybe not quite 100% as far, but it still goes a good distance in front of him. Like the detonate ability with Pyro, where you punch the ground and it picks someone up, and if you kill them during that state, they explode.
Yeah.
Well, the Earth version, I mean, you can't get it in the demo, but you have a move like that where you'll impale people on spikes and hold them in the air. And except for when they die doing this, instead of like exploding, they give health to players around them.
Oh, that's cool, actually.
But so like it's the same core abilities, just reskin different colors
with slightly different effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I haven't gone through all like the class trees yet. But it looks like those are largely going to be the same as well. So it seems more like, unless if like because they've already have confirmed there will be like armor sets like Diablo did.
Oh, really?
So there's going to be unique class sets.
Oh, that's cool.
So unless if those drastically change the way your character plays, all the classes kind of play the same.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I only went through with the one so far. I'll probably do the other ones at some point. But, like I said, they all seemed cool. Like, I liked the idea of them.
Yeah, I started with the Trickster.
Yeah, you seem like you would be.
Then I went to Pyro. Then I tried the Technomancer, and that one I like it, but that's the only class that is encouraged to hide behind barriers.
It feels like Roland from Borderlands. At least that's the vibe I felt. Oh, it may be.
It'd be more well, because Roland is the turret guy.
Yeah. Oh, the way I read his thing was that he makes stuff.
But
I imagine turrets.
He drops a turret, and he's got one where he drops missile launchers. But he focuses on like long range and support. So he's more of like a Mordecai.
Okay. So he's like a sniper.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And then the Devastator
tank
is just the in your face and
the Colossus essentially from Anthem.
Yeah. But and then like the Devastator and the Trickster are all about being in very close proximity when killing to get life back. Yeah. Pyro is like a mid-range for healing. And then, the Technomancer, you can stay at like long range. And as long as your abilities are hitting things, I think he heals per hit.
That's interesting.
So...
Yeah, I kind of like how the healing works in this, rather than I have an overshield and I have some health.
And you can get shields, though. There are certain abilities, I know the Trickster and the Devastator have them, at least. I didn't really see it with the other two. But they have abilities where when you hit with one of your powers, you'll get either armor or shields, so that protect you for a little bit.
Well, at least it's not permanent.
No, it's not.
I
have a version that's permanent, because I did break the game.
Of course you did.
So I'm with the Devastator, he's got an ability, like his is the second. Yeah, the second ability where you have to hit L1, R1.
Yeah.
Well, it's called Golem. Gives him like a suit of like armor made out of like stone.
Oh, that's cool.
Reduces all incoming damage by like 65% for a couple of seconds.
Well, that's cool.
Well, I found these pistols. It's a dual wielding pistol set that's got 12% vampire. So every bullet hits,
healing you.
I'm healing. But then it's got a special ability called Shield Maiden. Every bullet that hits generates a shield for me.
Yeah, you're pretty much indestructible.
So basically, like when I got to the final, like the boss of the demo, I could literally stand in his face and just shoot with the pistols. When he'd go to use an ability, I used an ability to interrupt him so he couldn't use his ability, and then I just went back to shooting. And if he used like a bigger move, I'd pop my armor, reduce all the damage, because it reduces the damage to my shield as well.
Oh my god.
So I'm healing, I'm getting this infinite shield, and your sidearm has infinite ammo that you just have to reload.
I was just about to say that your sidearms have infinite ammo, which I thought was kind of interesting.
So at level 7, at world rank 5, nothing can kill me.
Sounds like me and the Colossus in Anthem. I basically never hid. I could just walk up to any horde. I would just start shooting,
I'm playing
and
like
I'm
crap.
good.
Almost, and like I've had a couple of times where I'm just like playing like crap, or I'll get surrounded by a couple of melee guys, or like because at World Rank 5 you'll start seeing like captains in the areas too.
Oh, cool.
So like they'll use their abilities, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, I'm in red. Pop one ability, pop the other. Use my third ability that makes me jump up in the air, target someone, and then rocket at them like a meteor. So they explode. Oh look, I got all my health back. And now I'm just gonna shoot people with my pistols again, and I'm just like, this is just a little broken.
Jesus. Well, I have a feeling they'll tweak that because I do know that they've talked about that. They already said they're doing they're working on not a fix. What did they say? They're doing some fixes to it already, and
well, they're
working on.
They've probably already implemented. Like I know, at least for PC, they've already said that they're gonna have the ability to toggle motion blur.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have a bunch of other things, but seeing this is where it gets a little weird is, are some of these things going to be PC only implemented things because they tend to have more options for altering the game than consoles do?
Right.
Or is it going to be one of those things where it's, well, you can do it on like PC and PS5, not on the PS4?
I could see that. That seems to be a thing lately.
Yeah. Or I like maybe with PS4 they'll do the performance versus quality mode.
Maybe.
Well, PS4 Pro, the base PS4.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that.
So
it's all shit. But yeah, it is still a demo, so I'm sure they'll have tweaks here and there, especially as more people give feedback.
Yeah.
But overall, I want to say I do enjoy it, and I can see myself really liking this. I like the skill trees. I think they're fascinating. That was the one thing Destiny pissed me off with. Was the fact that your characters, while they could be quote-unquote customizable...
No, they weren't.
They weren't. You had to have specific builds, because all the other abilities were either useless, or they just were not good.
Well, and then
they were not viable.
The other big problem Destiny ran into with, well, a lot of like loot-based games like this style run into, especially when they do raids and the big boss things, you're basically equipping the what is it?
Your shoehorn.
The best in slot things, where it's basically you're wearing this armor, you're having this gun, it's set up this way. You're setting up these skills. Otherwise, you're not playing.
Yeah, as I was in a raid group once, where I can't remember what the raid was in Destiny, where it was the reason I hate raids anyway. It was the guy with the big sword. I can't.
Nox?
No.
Horlocks. Or something like
maybe that. Maybe. It was the one where he stands in the middle and you can only actually hit him with a sword. There were sword bearers around and they would drop one, but you could only damage him with a sword.
Yeah.
So basically what the raid reduced to was 5 people huddle in the fucking vestibule. Everyone shoots Yallarhorn at him to reduce the shield until it's gone, and then one person goes with a sword and swings. And that's it.
Yeah.
Once his shields come back, the guy bunny hops back, rinse, repeat.
Yeah.
I truly hate raids. Because even Atheon was like that in Vault of Glass.
Any sort of, like, formulaic thing like that in a raid is just stupid to me.
You didn't fight the boss.
Or you have to do some gimmick of the... Because there was the other one where you have to stand on, like, the certain platforms or whatever.
Yeah. Vault of Glass was like that, where 3 people
were
taken away. 3 people had to defend the point to which they came back. Otherwise, they were trapped. And they couldn't come back. And once they did come back, you all had to stand in this middle bubble and shoot Atheon until the bubble went away. Rinse, repeat, 3-4 times.
That's stupid.
I hated it.
Yeah.
That's why
just give me a larger enemy that responds like a normal enemy that has more health.
That's why, to be honest, in Destiny 1, the what was the arena called?
Gambit, or
God, I haven't played that in so long. It was where you basically had a team of 3, and it was just a series of bosses essentially until you met the big
PvE
Prison of Elders.
There we go.
Prison of Elders. The final boss for that was fucking incredible. I loved that because it felt like you were fighting a boss.
Yeah.
It was one big open area. He was firing at you. He had hordes. Boom, done. That's all you need for a good boss fight in PvE. Not this gimmicky shit of only one you have to hit him with a specific thing. No, that's stupid. Otherwise the party wipes.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, if you have certain, like, environmental things you can trigger against him to, like, make the boss easier, sort of, without having to rely exclusively on that, that's okay.
Yeah.
Like, say... You're in an area where you could drop, like, part of the ceiling on the boss or something. Something like that would be kind of cool.
Even if it's just to, like... Even if it doesn't do damage, but, like, stuns him momentarily for a good 5 seconds or so.
Yeah.
Something like that would be fine. As long as it's not integral to beating him.
Yeah.
And it's the reason I hated the raids 100%. One, they were way too long. Convoluted as fuck. I thought they were just... I hated them, personally.
I hated doing raids like that in WoW, so I didn't want to do them in Destiny.
I'm not a fan of, if one person fails, you all fail.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there was a point where the Gorgons, where you had to sneak, quote-unquote, past the Gorgons in Vault of Glass. If you were seen, the party wiped.
Oh.
How stupid.
Yeah.
You could shoot them, theoretically, and kill them. It wasn't happening. It wasn't likely.
Yeah.
But, like, that kind of shit... I don't know. Like,
especially in a first-person shooter.
Yeah, like...
It's all about... Like, you're playing a game that's about action. Why are you slowing it down to a crawl?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I have to wait to this specific point to move. Oh, now I gotta wait till this specific point to move. It's like... No.
You're just artificially inflating your game, and at that point, you're wasting my time.
God willing, I hope they don't do that with this, too. Because so far, I like that they're not doing PvP.
Yeah.
I'm 100% for that.
Although, something I found out that's kind of weird.
I loved Anthem didn't do that.
Multiplayer in this, even though there's 4 classes, you can only run in a party of 3.
I kind of like that.
Which is weird.
I like that aspect, because that means that you are going to have a party that is -1 fragment, if that makes sense.
Well, no, considering
it's the way you're saying.
At some point, the meta's going to come out and people are going to end up choosing the same classes. Granted, if you and I played together, we wouldn't.
What I'm saying is you're always going to have one class missing, and I kind of like that thought. Because they could... I doubt they've thought about it this much, but they could make it to where... Not necessarily where you need a specific class...
See, that would lose me right there altogether.
But I could see where, like... Because you can, as far as I know, you can shift classes.
No.
You can't do that. I thought you... No, that's right. I'm thinking Anthem again. Because Anthem, you could switch javelins.
Yeah. This one, when you pick your class...
Actually, I'm alright with that, then.
When you pick your class, you're that class with that character. To do another class, you have to make a new character.
That's right. Destiny was the same way. But, I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. I like that thought.
Considering there's no, like, elemental resistances and stuff like that, it's pointless.
We'll see. Because...
I don't think they will, because then, if you're going up against something that's, like, fire-resistant or immune, you're going to run into the same problem that, like, Diablo 2 had, whereas, I'm spec'd out for this element, I don't know this type of creature's coming up, I'm fucked. There is literally nothing I can do.
Well, that would make it to where you have to diversify, doesn't it? which I am all for.
Your Pyromancer, all of your abilities are pyro-based.
Are weapons going to be elemental based?
Some of them are, some of them aren't.
Because, I mean, Destiny did that too, where...
Yeah, but at that point, like...
It didn't matter in the early...
Yeah, it doesn't matter early on.
The elemental shields really didn't make any fucking difference.
Yeah.
It wasn't until you started doing strikes and shit like that where the elemental shields actually matter.
That's the level, like, it probably won't matter going through the story... But it'll be like once you're doing like the post game or going through on the harder difficulties, where if they start trying to do elemental resistance type stuff, well, like
don't make it impossible, but
because it's the moment they start resisting whatever element you are, you're done because the game is focused on using your powers repeatedly to heal. And if you're not damaging with them, you're not healing. You don't have items to heal to offset it.
Does every character have to kill to heal? Or are there some characters that'll do something like and the other characters just have to damage it?
I don't know. I know like certain classes like Devastator has the one where he spikes the enemy and when you kill it when it's spiked it 5% heal or something to every player around it. I know the Devastator also gets in one of its trees it has 3 passives that each one increases its regeneration by 3%, so you're constantly regenerating 3%. Health total all the time, so like he'll be able to offset it. And yeah, you can get like certain guns that have like the vampire trait where you're healing, but if it's to the point where your abilities aren't helping you, you're not going to be able to offset it enough.
Well, I mean, like I said, Destiny kind of did that too because all of your abilities were elemental based, and if they had a shield that you weren't effective against, well, you were fucked.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason the game design sucks.
Yeah, Destiny 2. Well, they offset that with now you have elemental weapons, which can offset. So if you played as Voidwalker, you could use electric weapons to get past that barrier, or fire, or whatever. Yeah. But who knows? It's still too early to tell how they'll go. But I do like that thought of you only running parties of 3, even though there's 4 classes. Although it sounds like, from what you said, some of the classes kind of are just samey.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe their builds are different.
And like I said, like I said, I haven't been through all of the class trees, so maybe there's stuff enough in there to differentiate.
And maybe it's something that will only present itself at higher difficulties.
Maybe.
Because I mean, to be honest, even in like Destiny and stuff, all the classes really weren't that different. When you went through story, so like it wasn't until later that you noticed differences. Yeah. But who knows? I don't know. Overall, though, I'm impressed with it. I think it'll be a good game if it's given a chance.
Yeah.
The demo's a bit of a shambling mess.
I just worry that it'll fall into the same thing where it'll release, it'll be fun for the playthrough, and then it just won't get support anymore because either People Can Fly or Square Enix say, yeah, we're not putting any more money into it.
Yeah.
Well, now we're just going to it's just let it die. And
yeah, it'll go the way of Anthem, which was unfortunate.
Yeah. At least it doesn't seem like it's going to be like, it won't be completely like Anthem because it doesn't seem like it's going to be a game as a service. It seems
right.
It seems more of like it's an action RPG rather than a game as a service.
That's what it felt like.
So I don't maybe, but who knows? That's.
I had a thought and I don't remember what it was. I was annoyed. I had to use my Square Enix account. That kind of thing always annoys me, but that's whatever.
Well, that's because cross progression and stuff too.
Right. So I can understand it to a point.
And that's also how they're allowing cross play.
Immortals Phoenix Rising pissed me off at that one too.
Oh, Ubisoft account?
Hated it. I was so pissed off I had to make a Ubisoft account. Even though because I just used yours for Division. Because you had played it before and I just logged in.
No, I don't think the Division needed a Ubisoft account.
I think it
I don't think the first one did.
Oh, maybe it didn't. But I know with fucking Immortals, I couldn't even play the game without one.
Yeah, which is
stupid. Even this one, I couldn't play the game without a Square Enix account.
This one makes a little bit more sense because it is an online-only game.
Yeah.
And because, like I said, that's how, like, the cross-progression and cross-play is done, is through the Square Enix account.
That makes sense.
It's so... I don't know.
I like that it'd be crossplay, because if my brother Alec gets it, he'll probably play on his Series X.
Yeah.
We can play with him, which would be amazing. We don't have to prod him to buy a PlayStation copy, which I like that. I'm surprised that, like, I remember a friend of mine was saying that Destiny isn't getting crossplay until Season 15. Well, they just released Season 13. So it's like, they still have 2 whole seasons of shit to go before they even get crossplay, which, to be honest, I'll be perfectly frank with you, I don't think they'll be around of Season 15. I can't believe people still play Destiny 2.
Yeah, that's every time someone posts something, or I log in on my PS4 and see someone playing, I'm like, how? There is no content in that game.
He was telling me they've just flat out cut off chunks of DLC. Like, they're not even there anymore.
Yeah, like, there's
the whole intro is basically Destiny 1.
Yeah.
You don't even start the way Destiny 2 started anymore. You start in the Cosmodrome, waking up, as you did in the first Destiny game. I was like, what? Why did they do this? Like, it's stupid to me.
So it's no longer Destiny 2, it's Destiny 1 point something.
It's not Destiny 2 anymore, which is the biggest turnoff to me anyway, because I tried to get into it when Shadowbringers was Final Fantasy.
Whatever.
Shadowkeep came out, or whatever. I tried to get back into it, and once I saw it went free to play, I was already, like, knocked my enthusiasm down 50%, because I hate the free-to-play model. I do not like it. I think it's
alright in some instances, because Genshin Impact is free to play.
I know.
And it's not bad.
But that's a different...
It's a very different style of game.
It's a different... I feel like it kind of almost works with that style game.
Yeah.
But something like Destiny, it just... I don't like when games abandon previous entries.
Well, it's previous. Like, getting rid of entire content is stupid.
Yes.
Like, getting rid of, like, certain weapons because they're they're old, I guess.
Well, that's every expansion. Yeah. Every expansion came out, forced you to ditch your older weapons.
Yeah.
Which, I get it. I understand why you do it. You want to force the player to upgrade their stuff.
Still stupid.
But at the same time, what I had to go through to get the final weapon from... God, why can I not remember his fucking name from House of Wolves? It was the big bit. Skolas? Was it Skolas from Prison of Elders? He was the big bad guy?
I don't know.
But you got, like, a weapon from him. You could pick one of 3. And I remember when we finally did it and we got that weapon, they released the expansion the next week. That weapon was pointless. Yeah. I said, this made no sense.
That's also one thing that I'm kind of happy with Outriders, is that with them not having a PvP aspect to it, they do not have to balance the game around it.
Thank you.
Which
exactly.
First off, PvP is boring as fuck. Not every game needs it.
No.
And anyone who says they needs to just needs to shut the fuck up.
There are plenty of other games that have PvP if you want a PvP.
Yeah. So
don't bring it into these games where it feels tacked on.
It's the same thing with BioWare just announced that Dragon Age 4 and whatever the next Mass Effect is going to be called will not have multiplayer.
Perfect.
It's like, good. You should never have added those to the games in the first place. They're fucking RPGs.
Yeah.
That'd have been like Final Fantasy VII Remake all of a sudden tacking in a multiplayer mode.
Yeah.
What are you doing? It's stupid.
Yeah.
But Call of Duty, where your entire premise is based around, your popularity is based around your PvP modes, and you do a story mode just because you can.
Shits and giggles to get used to the game.
Fine. But like other games, not everything has to have that. Yeah. And for them to keep trying to force it in is stupid.
I'm glad that they're not shoehorning a PvP into this. Well, like I said, it was one of the biggest draws to Anthem for me was there was no PvP. In fact, when you were out in the world itself, just free roaming, there were maybe like 4 other people.
3.
You weren't...
3, usually.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Like, you were not just getting bombarded with hordes of fucking players in your surrounding area.
Yeah.
I adored that. I thought that was a great touch, because PvP to me... well, Destiny fucked it all up anyway in the fact that to get certain, like, legendary equipment, you had to do
PvP was
PvP.
It's stupid.
I hated it.
Well, and like I said, having to balance everything around so it's fair in PvP screws over anyone who's only PvE, because something might be great in PvE, and then all of a sudden people find out, oh, well, this weapon is great, or it unbalances things in PvP, so they ruin it across the board.
They'll nerf it super hard, or they'll do something. Like, I remember Thorn. Thorn dominated PvP in Destiny for the longest time just because of the damage it would slowly, the chip damage it would do, just connecting once.
Yeah.
All you had to do was shoot your enemy once, and if he killed you, oh well, he's gonna die in 4 seconds anyway from the poison effect. I'm like, Thorn was the biggest game ruiner in PvP.
Oh, there was that,
and then they nerfed it. And
or
then
there was that
trash.
One laser weapon that had come out, I think.
The Prometheus, or I know what you're talking about.
Like right before the first expansion or whatever. And like
Icebreaker was for a while because it didn't have an ammo supply. It regened ammo.
Yeah.
Which you never ran out of ammo, and it did a fuck ton of damage.
Yeah.
So Icebreaker did a lot.
So then
I know what you're talking about.
And that's all PvP devolves into, is what's the current meta for the game, and that's all anyone ever did.
Yeah. Even the raids were the same way. If you didn't have the specific set, if you were not using Yallarhorn, hell, I've had raid teams kick me out because I was using Truth or something instead of Yallarhorn. And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping the full game won't have any PvP. They're not gonna. I hope they don't even think of adding it in.
I like that too. I can see myself having a lot of fun with this game.
Which means the best part of it is that means they can go as over the top as they want with the weapons and stuff.
Absolutely. It's all going to come down to, once story's done, what's there going to be to do? Like you said. I mean, for a game like this, like Destiny had the strikes. You could do the strike playlist, which I liked. I liked the mini mission thing.
I don't see, the biggest problem I have with the way Destiny did it is you end up running the same 6 missions with some stupid modifiers that really, other than a few here and there, did nothing to change the way you played stuff.
Yeah.
They were stupid.
There were some that kind of didn't do it any good.
But
I remember if you didn't have one of the burn, there was void burns, shock burn, or whatever, where it increased that particular element 200%.
Yeah.
You were literally not beating this raid.
Yeah, it's stupid.
That was the Nightfalls, I think.
Stuff like that is dumb. If they want to do something, pull from Diablo 3 with the the greater the Rift system they have, where it'll take all the different tile sets it has, randomly generate a bunch of maps for you to run through, so that are just randomly generated, so you can go through an infinite labyrinth basically.
Yeah.
And do something like that.
Yeah, that's why I hope they do something to that effect, because I like that kind of stuff, running through a small dungeon and beating a boss.
Yeah.
The strikes and stuff were always the most fun part of Destiny for me. Was playing with a team,
As long as I'm not, like I said, running the same maps repeatedly.
Right. Which, even, I mean, if you think about it, early release, this probably won't have that many to choose from. So, I mean, the pool might be small, but still, it's something.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But overall, I'm optimistic. I am not completely jaded yet, even though people ruin everything, because that's people.
Yeah.
Look at just trying to get a PS5. People ruin everything. It's a great thing. Just let gamers play games. Quit trying to make money.
Well, that's...
Pieces of shit.
That's never going to happen.
I
have a feeling this will be how console launches are from now on. Especially if, Nintendo decides to do the updated Switch.
Well... See, but... Well, yeah, that's true. The only way that would hinder it is if there are certain things that can only be played on that updated Switch. Kind of like the new 3DS.
Which they had all of, one game that worked on the newer hardware only?
Oh, 2.
Because Nintendo won't...
Xenoblade, and I want to say... Hyrule Warriors?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
I think. There was not many. But... Or you could only download the Super Nintendo games off the Virtual Console to the new 3DS, which I don't understand why that was, but whatever. But I don't know. This is something that we've never seen in our life. PS3s were not that hard to get. PS4s were not that hard to get. Switches were rare for a while, but that's just because Nintendo releases limited amounts of things.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with that. This is just shitty people being shitty. I remember I went to a Quick Trip once to get just something. I think it was your PlayStation card, your gift card for Christmas, and he saw I was buying the card, and he was like, "Oh, you play PlayStation, right?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You got a PS5?" I said, "No, I can't seem to find one." He's like, "Oh, I just sold a PS5 for $900. Would you pay $900 for a PS5?" I said, "First of all, I'm not a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
I'm not an idiot. And second of all, you're a piece of shit for doing this."
Yeah.
And he gave me this look like I just kicked him in the nuts. And, I mean, rightly so. You're a piece of shit if you do this. If you scalp these systems, just let people play. Why do you have to do that? And this is not a new concept. People have done it with the iPhones since, Jesus Christ, iPhone 4. People just buy these iPhones to jailbreak them, but in the process break a bunch, which pisses me off. I just want the phone. I just want a PS5 to play games.
Yeah.
That's it. I just want to play something. Quit making this an impossible task.
Yeah.
It angers me. I don't know.
Well, and the fact that, there's nothing that these companies can do to prevent it.
No, there really isn't. And it not only hurts, us, it hurts, developers. Because what's the point of releasing a game on the PS5 when, what was the figure? 6 or 7% of the PS5s currently sold are active? Yeah. That means nobody's buying software. Why would you release anything? Because nobody's going to play it.
Yeah.
It blows my mind that, people don't think that this is going to have a ripple effect.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. We'll see what the future holds, but so far, I know Outriders comes out April 1st. April Fool's Day. Which they even reiterated, this is not a joke. This is just the release date.
Which is, because considering it was supposed to be out in December.
It was.
Last year.
It was. I can't imagine this if this had been out in December.
Oh, no. I don't think it would have been well. It would have been just like Cyberpunk. I think they saw what happened with Cyberpunk and were like, nah.
I'll tell you one thing this already has over Cyberpunk. You can walk in the water and something happens. And in Cyberpunk, if you walked in water, literally nothing happened. There was no splash, no nothing. At least in this one, there's a splash effect. Not a ripple effect, which I'll give a pass to, but I couldn't believe that. When Alec told me that there was no effect whatsoever in the water, I said, "Oh, that's like PS2 shit."
Yeah.
That's sad. But yeah, if this were released in December, fuck me.
Oh, it'd been dead in the water. Absolutely. I guarantee this game would have just been dead.
This would have been dead faster than Anthem. For sure. Which also scares me a little bit, because EA is a big company. Square Enix is also a big company. I hope they put some backing into this.
Yeah, I do too.
EA is a little more fickle than I think Square Enix is. So, I mean, I can understand why EA backed out. But I think Square Enix definitely backs their shit up and they try to push. Because this is the first time Square Enix has ever been in this realm. As far as I can remember. They haven't really done anything like this that I can think of. At least nothing that comes to mind.
Well, Dirge of Cerberus was a third-person shooter.
I meant more so in the vein of,
looter shoot, the style.
Yeah. Not really that I can recall. Because, yeah, Square Enix has done shit like this before, in terms of, gameplay-wise, I guess. But definitely not this genre.
Yeah, nothing I can think of, actually.
No. So I hope they definitely go all in, and I hope they really, really push to make this something special.
Yeah.
Because I want to say this genre does have sort of a glut of games, but not really. Because, I mean, you have the 3 Borderlands games, you have the 2 Division games, you have Destiny, well, just Destiny 2, because let's be honest, Destiny 1's done.
Yeah.
But, other than those, can't really think of too many. Not off my noggin, anyhow.
Well, Hellgate London used to be like this, but I don't know if that game's even up anymore.
No.
But
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Any other thoughts? Got anything else?
No, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. But anyway, Let us know what you guys think. If you're interested in Outriders, if this is something that you guys would find yourself playing, don't let our our ripping of it discourage you. It's definitely worth giving a shot, but you have to just give it a small pass. It is a demo. Demos can change.
That's why, like, yeah, as much as I mock the game in the current state.
Me too.
It's definitely one where it's possible that when it releases, it'll be better. It's also possible that, you know, the PS5 version could be fucking immaculate. So who knows?
I mean,
well, and PC or whatever.
But some games have released demos that are perfect. I mean, the FF7 remake demo was pretty fucking spot on.
No such thing as a perfect demo.
I mean, that remake demo was pretty solid.
It's good, yeah.
PT was technically a demo.
Still wasn't perfect because the game never released.
Oh, good point. Are you kidding? It was a game unto itself. But yes, I would encourage people, if you're into this genre, give it a shot. Other than that, yeah. Well, not so much a quickie, but they usually never are. But anyway, you can always hit us up on Facebook.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Go to PowerTripGaming.tv, takes you directly to the channel where you can watch our playthrough of the NES collection, as well as other side quest videos of other things outside of the NES.
Gonna go to iTunes, Stitcher, listen to the PTGPowercast, YouTube, it's on there as well.
That's right.
Other places.
I think that'll do it for now. So there you go, Outriders. Out April 1st. Maybe.
I mean, or March 31st if you pre-order it.
Oh, that's true. Well, we'll see if they don't delay it. maybe if they get enough feedback, they'll be like, this ain't ready. Who knows? We'll see, because Lord knows nobody's going to ever do a Cyberpunk release ever again.
Oh, no. The next company that does it is dead.
Yeah.
There's just no way around it anymore.
No.
So...
we'll see.